All right, listen up. Too many people walk around spilling their lives to anyone who will listen. Every little detail, every high, every low. They're quick to give updates to announce every move they're making. But let me tell you something real. You don't need an audience for your grind. Silence is powerful. When you keep talking, when you keep broadcasting, you give away your energy. All that noise drains you. You're looking for validation, for someone to say, good job, or keep going, but guess what? You don't need that. You don't need anyone else's approval to keep pushing forward. You're giving away pieces of your power, piece by piece, when you could be channeling all that energy into doing the damn work. People say they want to be great, but they also want applause. They want recognition. They want to post every workout, every victory, every setback. That's not the way you build strength. Strength is built in the silence, in the unseen hours. Strength comes from fighting through when nobody's watching and nobody cares. And if you're constantly talking about what you're doing, then you're not truly in it. You're not immersed in the grind because you're too busy narrating it. Now think about this: when you go silent, people won't know what's coming. They won't see the work you're putting in behind the scenes. They won't have any clue what's about to hit them. And that's your edge. When you stop talking, when you stop broadcasting, you start moving in silence. You start working without distractions. You lock in on the process. You stop worrying about what people think, and you start chasing what you're capable of. I'm not saying don't share your story when the time is right, but when you're in the middle of it, when you're still climbing, don't let the noise around you interfere with the focus within you. Don't waste your time updating people on where you are. They'll see where you've been when you've already passed them. So stop talking. Start working. Let them see the results, not the journey. Talking about your plans, dreams, or struggles can be an energy drain without you even realizing it. Each time you tell someone what you're working on, what you're aiming to achieve, or even what hurdles you're facing, you're taking energy away from the actual task. The enthusiasm and drive you feel at the beginning of any endeavor are powerful forces that should be directed into the work itself. The problem is that when you share too much, you're feeding those forces into the satisfaction of being understood or validated by others. That might feel good for a moment, but it does nothing to move you closer to your goals. Energy is everything. Think of it as a fuel tank that you need to protect. You only have so much mental, emotional, and physical energy in a day, and you want to be careful about where you spend it. This applies to every part of your life, but especially when you're on a path that demands your all-out focus and commitment. The moment you start telling people what you're doing, you're spending that fuel without even moving forward. You're basically revving your engine and getting nowhere. And every time you look for a pat on the back, every time you seek out that confirmation, you're feeding into a need that takes away from your own drive. When you share your journey, you give away your energy in ways that might seem small, but they add up. You might find yourself explaining your reasons, your motivations, and your plans almost as if you're seeking validation. And the truth is, that's often what's happening. When you talk about your goals before you're fully in them, you can get a sense of satisfaction that feels like progress, but it's not. Instead of proving something to yourself through your actions, you're getting that feeling of accomplishment from others' reactions, and that can be a trap. It can lead you to a place where you feel like you're making progress, but in reality, you're not moving at all. The energy you save by staying quiet is also energy you can use to get through the tough moments, and there are always tough moments. When the path gets rough, when the progress slows down, you need every bit of focus and determination you can muster. If you've been talking about your journey, then when things get hard, you might feel even more pressure to keep updating people or explaining yourself. This is wasted energy, energy that could be put to better use. In those moments, the energy conserved by staying silent can be the difference between giving up and pushing through. You're not carrying the weight of anyone else's expectations, just your own. And that can be a relief when the going gets tough. Keeping your goals to yourself lets you keep your focus inward, where it belongs. It keeps you in a state of self-reliance, where you don't need anyone else to tell you you're on the right path. You learn to rely on yourself and your own instincts. When you need motivation, you find it from within instead of looking for someone else to push you. This is how true grit and resilience are built. Instead of seeking external support, you dig deep into your own strength. By keeping your journey private, you let the energy build up within you, ready to be used for the real work ahead. You're constantly renewing your strength rather than draining it by explaining yourself. Another critical aspect of conserving energy by staying quiet is that you don't feel obligated to stick to a particular path just because you told people about it. When you tell everyone about your goals, you sometimes feel stuck if you need to adjust, rethink, or pivot. Keeping things private gives you the flexibility to change direction without feeling like you have to explain it. You can move, adapt, and make adjustments without worrying about anyone else's opinion or judgment. Conserving your energy is about making sure that your motivation and drive are directed toward what matters most, taking action. When you stop telling people about your every step, you keep that energy focused and locked in, allowing you to make real progress without distraction. You're not looking for anyone's approval. You're not giving away pieces of your ambition. You're using all of it to fuel your journey forward, and that's what makes all the difference. When you're constantly sharing updates about your goals, ambitions, or progress, you can easily lose sight of the process itself. The problem with talking too much about what you're doing is that it can put the focus on how you appear to others rather than on the work you're actually doing. In a way, the minute you start talking about it, you step out of the process and into a narrative about the process. This narrative can become a distraction, pulling you out of the present moment and out of the dedication it takes to push forward. The only thing that should matter is the work itself. If you're serious about achieving something, the path requires undivided attention and total commitment, not a running commentary. Every time you update someone on your journey, you invite feedback, questions, and possibly even criticism. This can interrupt your flow and make you start second-guessing yourself. Suddenly, what started as your vision becomes a topic of discussion. And you might find yourself swayed by other people's perspectives. Instead of making choices based on your own intuition and goals, you may find yourself influenced by what others think you should do. When you're constantly sharing, it can also create a sense of pressure to achieve progress by certain milestones or deadlines. That pressure isn't always constructive, it's external, and it takes your focus away from the actual work. You're no longer operating based on internal drive, but rather on an imagined standard set by the audience you've created. Talking about your plans too soon or too often also can create an illusion of progress. You get a temporary sense of accomplishment by sharing that you're working on something big or that you're on a new path. This can create a false feeling of satisfaction and make you believe you've done more than you actually have. You start to associate the act of sharing with progress itself, which is dangerous because it tricks your mind into believing you're further along than you really are. You might end up feeling satisfied just by talking about your plans rather than putting in the hard work required to make them a reality. This illusion of progress is one of the biggest obstacles to real achievement, and it's something that only happens when you step out of the process by narrating it. One of the most valuable parts of staying focused on the process is that it keeps you in the moment. When you're not thinking about how others will react to your progress or what updates you'll give them, you're free to immerse yourself in each step of the journey. You become more mindful, more present in the work you're doing. This presence is powerful because it lets you see the subtle details that make a difference, and it helps you spot opportunities and challenges as they arise. If your attention is split between the work and the story you're creating about the work, then you miss those moments that are crucial to mastery and growth. The process, especially in any challenging pursuit, often includes setbacks, slow periods, and times of self-doubt. If you're focused on how you'll explain those moments to others, you risk letting doubt creep in unnecessarily. Every setback becomes a possible judgment from your audience, and that can add unnecessary weight to an already tough journey. But when you're focused purely on the work, setbacks are simply part of the path. They're things to learn from, adapt to, and move beyond without the burden of public scrutiny. Staying private about your journey keeps you focused on overcoming challenges for your own growth rather than for how it might look to others. Another essential aspect of staying focused on the process is the development of resilience. When you're not constantly looking for validation or reacting to others' opinions, you're strengthening your ability to keep going despite obstacles. The process becomes something you own entirely. You're not doing it for anyone else, you're doing it for you. This makes you more resilient because you learn to rely on yourself and your internal drive. You build a foundation of strength that doesn't depend on outside encouragement. And because you're locked into the process itself, you're more likely to adapt and push through no matter how difficult it gets. Focusing on the process keeps you grounded in the reality of what it takes to succeed, There's no illusion, no facade, no distractions, just you and the path you're carving. By removing the need to narrate or share every step, you gain clarity, purpose, and a stronger connection to the journey itself. You start to understand that it's the day in, day out effort, the moments when nobody's watching, that truly matter. When you're fully engaged in the process, you don't just get closer to your goals, you become someone who's capable of achieving them. Moving in silence is one of the most powerful strategies you can use on the path to achieving your goals. It gives you a unique advantage because it keeps people guessing. When you're quiet about your ambitions, your next moves, or your strategies, nobody knows what you're up to, and that unpredictability can be your edge. Think about it, if people don't know your plans, they can't form expectations, and they certainly can't interfere. They have no insight into your actions, which means they're in the dark about what you're building. Silence lets you build without external pressure, judgments, or unsolicited advice. You're free to focus entirely on what matters most, getting the work done. One of the main reasons moving in silence is so effective is that it keeps the distractions at bay. As soon as you share your plans, you open the door to all kinds of responses, whether they're positive, negative, or indifferent. People may try to influence your approach, offer unsolicited opinions, or even undermine your confidence by questioning your choices. You might even start doubting yourself because of their input. But when you keep things to yourself, none of that external noise enters your mind. You're left to rely on your own intuition, your own beliefs, and your own sense of direction. This can be incredibly empowering because you learn to trust yourself fully without outside interference. Silence also helps you maintain control over your narrative. When people know your moves, they may try to interpret or redefine them in ways that don't align with your intentions. They may make assumptions, spread rumors, or create expectations around what you're doing. This can create pressure to meet those expectations or to constantly explain yourself, which only adds stress and takes energy away from the work itself. Moving in silence allows you to control your own story. You decide when and how to reveal what you've been working on. This lets you maintain control over your own progress without any need to explain or defend it to others. Another key advantage of moving in silence is that it reduces the likelihood of comparison. When you share every step of your journey, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparing your progress to others, or worse, allowing others to compare themselves to you. These comparisons can create feelings of inadequacy, insecurity, or frustration, and they're rarely helpful. By staying quiet, you avoid putting your progress on display, which frees you from the need to measure up to anyone else's standards or timelines. You get to move at your own pace, making steady progress without the added pressure of public comparison. Moving in silence also allows you to make mistakes in private. Let's face it, every path to success is filled with mistakes, wrong turns, and learning curves. When you're quiet about your journey, you can make those mistakes without feeling the weight of others watching. You don't have to worry about explaining failures or setbacks to anyone else. Instead, you're free to learn, adjust, and keep moving forward without judgment. This private space to experiment and grow is crucial, especially in the early stages when you're still finding your footing. Silence gives you the room to fail, to try again, and to find what works, all without the scrutiny of an audience. Another critical benefit of moving in silence is that it builds resilience. When you're focused solely on your own progress, you're not relying on applause or encouragement from others to keep going. You build a kind of inner strength because your motivation comes entirely from within. This is incredibly valuable, especially in tough times when external validation might be lacking. You learn to push through challenges without needing anyone else's approval or support, which makes you stronger and more self-reliant. When you're used to moving without fanfare, you're prepared to keep going regardless of whether anyone's watching or cheering you on. One of the most satisfying aspects of moving in silence is that the results speak for themselves. There's something powerful about unveiling your achievements only when they're ready, rather than narrating every step along the way. When you finally do reveal what you've been working on, it has a much greater impact. People aren't prepared for it, and they see the result of all the hard work rather than hearing about each minor detail along the way. This kind of reveal can be incredibly motivating for you as well because it reinforces the value of putting in the work without needing immediate validation. You're not building for others to see, you're building because it matters to you. Silence gives you a sense of control, independence, and focus that is hard to achieve when you're constantly updating others. It allows you to operate in a space where your only accountability is to yourself, and that kind of freedom is rare. You don't owe anyone explanations, and you don't have to worry about others' reactions or opinions. You're free to act in your own best interest, to adjust as needed, and to move forward with a clarity and intensity that comes from within. Silence keeps your goals close to you, protects your energy, and gives you the freedom to act without distraction. The unpredictability you create by staying quiet becomes your strength, and in the end, your results will be all the proof anyone needs of your commitment and capability. Building strength in privacy is one of the most profound ways to develop real resilience and grit. When you keep your journey private, you allow yourself to fully experience and engage with the struggles, setbacks, and triumphs without the weight of outside expectations. Real growth happens when you're alone with your challenges, without applause, and without needing external validation. It's in these private moments that you truly get to know yourself, your limits, your potential, and your capacity to keep pushing forward. When you're not sharing your journey with others, you don't have to worry about living up to someone else's standards or impressing anyone. The only person you need to impress is yourself. And this removes a huge amount of pressure. There's no need to seek approval or confirmation from others, so you're free to focus solely on the work and on building yourself up from within. This type of self-reliance builds a core strength that can't be easily shaken by others' opinions, setbacks, or even failures. You become more resilient because you're learning to push through challenges without needing an audience or external support. It's just you and the task at hand, and you learn to rely entirely on your own motivation. In the private moments, you're able to face your weaknesses head on. When you're working in silence, you're not focused on keeping up appearances. You don't have to act like you're stronger or more prepared than you actually are. This honesty with yourself allows you to see where you need to improve and gives you the space to do it without judgment. You can take the time to confront what holds you back, whether it's self-doubt, fear, or past failures, and work on overcoming those obstacles in a way that's genuine and real. This is where true growth happens, not in showing others your best side, but in working through the hard, messy parts when nobody's watching. Keeping your struggles and progress private also means that any setbacks you face are yours alone. You're not carrying the weight of anyone else's expectations, and you're not forced to justify or explain yourself when things don't go as planned. This freedom to make mistakes in private is a powerful thing. It allows you to experiment, to try new approaches, and to learn from each failure without feeling like you're under a microscope. Each time you fall, you have the chance to get back up, adjust, and move forward without worrying about outside judgments. This kind of resilience born from falling and rising again on your own terms is what creates unshakable strength. Privacy also allows you to cultivate a deeper, more personal connection with your goals. When your journey is yours alone, you're not influenced by what others think you should do or how they think you should do it. Your goals become a part of who you are, something that resonates deeply with you because it's rooted in your own intentions and values. This personal connection keeps you grounded and motivated even when things get tough. You're not just working for the sake of achieving something, you're working because it means something to you. This internal drive is far more powerful than any external validation because it's built on a foundation of self-awareness and purpose. Another aspect of building strength and privacy is that it prevents you from becoming dependent on external motivation. If you're constantly seeking encouragement or recognition, you risk becoming reliant on it. When the going gets tough, if there's no one around to support you, you might find it hard to keep pushing forward. But when you're used to working in silence, you're building the habit of motivating yourself from within. You're learning to tap into your own strength, to dig deep, and to keep going no matter what. This self-reliance is a skill that will serve you well in every area of life because it makes you more independent, adaptable, and resilient. Building strength in private makes the final outcome all the more rewarding. When you eventually reach your goal or achieve something significant, it feels deeply satisfying because you know the journey it took to get there. You know the struggles you faced, the nights you questioned yourself, and the resilience it took to keep going. The achievement is yours alone, not because you did it for anyone else, but because you did it for yourself. This sense of personal pride and accomplishment is much more fulfilling than any applause or recognition from others. When you're building strength privately, you're also cultivating humility. There's no need to boast or seek recognition because you're not doing it for anyone but yourself. This quiet confidence born from private struggle and growth becomes a part of who you are. You don't need to broadcast your strength because it's deeply ingrained in you. It's a strength that speaks for itself, not in words, but in actions. And when you do choose to share your journey or your achievements, they come from a place of genuine accomplishment, grounded in a quiet resilience that doesn't rely on others' approval. Building strength in privacy means you're creating a foundation of self-worth, independence, and resilience that no one can take away. It's not based on what anyone else thinks, it's based on what you've proven to yourself. And that's a strength that will carry you through whatever challenges lie ahead. Keeping your goals to yourself is one of the best ways to avoid the trap of comparison and the external pressure that comes with it. When you choose to stay silent about your journey, you protect yourself from the expectations and judgments of others, which can subtly influence and even derail your path. In a world where people are constantly sharing their lives, it's easy to get sucked into comparisons, which can lead you to question your own progress or make you feel like you're not doing enough. When you keep things private, however, you give yourself the freedom to pursue your goals on your own terms, free from the distractions and noise of the outside world. Comparison is one of the biggest threats to personal growth. When you openly share your journey, you open the door for people to measure you against their own standards or the achievements of others. This can create a sense of competition or urgency that has nothing to do with what's actually best for you. You might start rushing, overthinking, or even questioning your own methods because of what someone else is doing or achieving. By keeping your progress to yourself, you eliminate the need to measure up to anyone else's standards. You give yourself the space to focus on what works for you, not on what might look good or impress others. This sense of autonomy is crucial in any journey of personal growth or achievement because it allows you to listen to your own instincts and needs rather than getting caught up in what others think you should be doing. Avoiding external pressure is also important because it allows you to set your own pace. When you're open about your plans, you might feel compelled to reach certain milestones or achieve things faster just to show others you're making progress. This external pressure can lead you to sacrifice quality for speed, which is rarely beneficial in the long run. The journey to achieving something meaningful is often slow, filled with trial and error, and demands patience. If you're constantly worried about keeping up appearances or meeting others' expectations, you risk rushing through the process, missing important steps, and ultimately undermining your own success. But when you keep your goals private, you have the freedom to go at a pace that feels right for you. You can take the time you need to do things correctly, to learn from each phase of the journey, and to make adjustments along the way without worrying about how it looks to others. Staying quiet about your goals also helps you avoid unnecessary advice or feedback. When people know what you're working toward, they often feel compelled to give you their opinions, whether they're helpful or not. Some might mean well, but their advice might be based on their own experiences or assumptions, which may not apply to your unique situation. Others might project their own fears, doubts, or limitations onto you, making you question your own choices. This kind of unsolicited advice can be distracting and, at times, discouraging. By keeping your goals to yourself, you avoid the noise of outside opinions and protect yourself from being swayed by perspectives that may not serve your best interests. You're free to rely on your own intuition, to trust your own judgment, and to move forward based on what feels right for you. Privacy in your journey also prevents you from becoming too focused on external rewards or recognition. When people know what you're working on, there can be an added pressure to achieve certain outcomes that others will view as impressive or successful. This focus on outward validation can lead you to prioritize results over the learning and growth that happen along the way. When you keep your goals private, however, you can focus more on the intrinsic rewards like the sense of accomplishment, growth, and mastery that come from working towards something meaningful. You're able to value the small wins, the lessons learned, and the resilience you build along the way rather than just the final achievement that others might see. Another benefit of keeping your goals private is that it protects you from the inevitable judgments and criticism that often come with sharing ambitions. When people know your plans, they may critique them or express doubts, which can plant seeds of doubt in your own mind. Even the most well-intentioned criticism can be discouraging, especially in the early stages when you're still building momentum. By keeping things to yourself, you create a safe space for your dreams to grow without interference. You allow yourself to stay focused on your goals, to cultivate a sense of belief in your own capabilities, and to push forward without the fear of criticism or rejection. Keeping your goals private allows you to create a journey that's based entirely on your own terms. You don't have to justify your path to anyone. And you're free to make decisions based on what feels right for you rather than what might look good to others. This level of self-directed focus is incredibly powerful because it allows you to cultivate a strong inner motivation that isn't dependent on anyone else's approval or expectations. You're not chasing someone else's idea of success, you're pursuing something that truly matters to you, and that's a powerful, liberating place to be. By maintaining this privacy, you give yourself the best chance to succeed in a way that's meaningful, authentic, and aligned with who you truly are. You're free to embrace the journey fully without the distractions, judgments, or expectations of the outside world, allowing you to grow and succeed on your own terms. Silence can be a powerful tool for protecting your dreams, especially when it comes to safeguarding your inner motivation. When you keep your ambitions private, you're preserving a unique kind of energy around your goals, one that's deeply personal and aligned with your internal drive. This protective silence allows you to nurture your vision without interference, distractions, or the influence of others' opinions, creating a clear space for you to grow and achieve in your own way. One of the biggest advantages of keeping your goals to yourself is that it helps you maintain a strong sense of purpose. When you're constantly sharing your dreams with others, it's easy for their reactions to shape or alter your sense of what you're doing and why. People may try to give you advice, project their fears onto you, or even question your choices. Over time, these external voices can become so loud that they overshadow your original motivation, making you lose sight of what drew you to your goals in the first place. But when you choose to stay quiet, you retain full control over your vision. You remain connected to your purpose and your own reasons for pursuing your dreams, free from the pressure of external expectations. Silence also allows you to protect yourself from self-doubt. When you keep your dreams private, you shield yourself from the scrutiny and judgment that often come with sharing big goals. People have a tendency to question, analyze, or even doubt others' ambitions, and their words can sometimes cause us to doubt ourselves. If you're not ready for that scrutiny, it can easily shake your confidence, making you question whether you're capable of achieving what you set out to do. By maintaining privacy, you give yourself the time and space to build a solid foundation of self-belief, one that's not dependent on others' approval or validation. This inner belief becomes a powerful tool when challenges arise, allowing you to stay resilient and committed even when things get tough. Another benefit of protecting your dreams through silence is that it prevents premature celebrations. Talking about your goals or sharing early wins too soon can create a false sense of accomplishment. Studies have shown that announcing your plans to others can sometimes give you a psychological reward, making you feel as if you've already achieved something even though you're just getting started. This can lead to complacency, where you feel satisfied with the praise you receive rather than pushing through to actualize your dreams. By keeping your ambitions under wraps, you avoid this trap, ensuring that your energy remains focused on actual progress rather than on seeking validation. Silence also allows you to grow at your own pace. When your journey is private, you're free to make mistakes, adjust, and evolve without the pressure of an audience. Every goal comes with a learning curve, and growth is rarely a straight line. There will be setbacks, adjustments, and moments of doubt. When these moments happen privately, you're able to reflect on them and learn without feeling like you need to explain or justify yourself to others. This freedom to grow in private means you can take risks and explore new paths without worrying about how it looks or what others might think. You can focus on steady, authentic growth, which is far more valuable than simply looking good in front of others. Keeping your dreams to yourself also fosters a powerful kind of discipline. Without the external pressure to perform or show progress, you're left with only your own commitment to drive you forward. This builds a strong internal discipline, one that isn't swayed by the opinions or expectations of others. You learn to show up for yourself, to hold yourself accountable, and to keep pushing forward even when no one else knows or sees what you're doing. This self-discipline becomes a cornerstone of your success because it's rooted in a genuine commitment to your vision rather than in any external validation. There's also a sense of empowerment that comes from knowing your goals are yours alone. When you're not sharing every step of your journey, you develop a sense of ownership over your dreams. They're not influenced by others, not diluted by outside perspectives, and not dependent on anyone else's support. This independence builds confidence, allowing you to fully claim your vision as your own. Your dreams become an integral part of who you are, something you're working toward for reasons that are deeply personal and meaningful. This ownership not only keeps you motivated, but also gives you the strength to keep going, even when obstacles arise. Silence allows you to make your own decisions with clarity and purpose. When your journey is private, you're free from the noise and distractions of outside opinions, which can often cloud your judgment. You can listen to your own intuition and make decisions based on what feels right for you rather than what might seem impressive or acceptable to others. This clarity allows you to navigate challenges with confidence, to take the steps that align with your values, and to move forward in a way that feels authentic to you. With this focus, you're able to stay on course no matter how difficult the journey becomes. Protecting your dreams with silence means that your journey remains pure, undiluted by the influence or expectations of others. You retain the energy, clarity, and motivation needed to move forward with confidence without the need for validation or reassurance from the outside world. This quiet dedication to your own path is a powerful force, one that will carry you through challenges, keep you focused on what truly matters, and ultimately lead you to success on your own terms. In conclusion, keeping your goals and dreams private is not just a strategy, it's a powerful tool for self-protection, growth, and focus. By moving in silence, you shield yourself from the distractions, judgments, and comparisons that can derail your progress. It allows you to work relentlessly, learn from your failures, and build resilience without external interference. This silence fosters discipline, personal accountability, and an unwavering connection to your own vision, enabling you to push through challenges and setbacks with strength. When you keep your dreams to yourself, you protect the sanctity of your inner motivation, making your journey one that's driven purely by your own desires and aspirations. Ultimately, this quiet pursuit of excellence builds a solid foundation for success, one that is authentic, self-driven, and unshakable.